Take your seats now. Once again, good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Trishma Pinto, and on behalf of the Sri Lanka Export Development Board, in partnership with the ICT BPM Branding Committee, we're extremely pleased to have you all join us here this morning as we unveil before you a brand new identity for Sri Lanka's ICT BPM sector. Ladies and gentlemen, the ICT BPM industry of our nation has come together to develop and launch this international branding campaign, and we're sure that this identity will accelerate the growth of a very diverse and thriving industry of our country. This campaign has been spearheaded by the Export Development Board, supported by the Asian Development Bank through Japan Fund for Poverty Reduction, with PwC engaged as consultants. Friends, we are delighted to commence our launch this morning with an official welcome address. To do the honors of the same, please join me in welcoming to the lectern Chairperson and Chief Executive of the Sri Lanka Export Development Board. Please put your hands together for Miss Indira Malwatta.
Good morning, Honorable Minister, Mr. Malik Samaravikrama, Minister for Development Strategies and International Trade, Secretary, Ministry of Trade, Mr. Chintaka Lokuhetti, President and all officials from SLASCOM. I know the Chairman of ICT is not here. She called me this morning and she gave the blessings because she's sick, because this was nothing but a collaboration between the private sector and the government sector that this was able. I'm happy to tell the Minister that the private-public partnership that the EDB started with the launching of the World Export Development Forum, where we took a very courageous action to see that whatever the EDB does is along with the private sector, because EDB are only facilitators. Eventually the beneficiaries are the private sector of Sri Lanka. So this is a similar project that has been initiated both by the private sector, the ICTA, the EDB and other related government departments and organizations. I must thank the ADB who has been funding us with technical cooperation, because this is one of the projects that the ADB has done for us. We have along with them a women's empowerment project. We also have with them a project on developing the rubber sector, where we recently launched a consortium of rubber exporters called the Global Sri Lanka Global Consortium, where a group of Sri Lankan rubber exporters have got together to become a collaborative organization so that they could enter the international market. It's not competing with each other, but it is competing against the world. So there were a number of projects that the ADB has supported the Sri Lankan government, and I'm very thankful for them, all the support that has been given. Today's launch was very important to us because I think the ICT sector, from a fledgling industry a few years ago, has now developed to be an adult. And they are right now in a position to be able to achieve the export targets that they have set for themselves, which is achieving 5 billion of exports in 2022, getting 200 direct jobs and having 1,000 startups. So this has been, targets have been set by the private sector, and I'm very grateful that all of them are working in order to achieve these targets. So today's brand launch is something that will give more value addition to the ICT and BPM sector, as well as make Sri Lanka a center of excellence. This would be a milestone in the sector today, and I'm very grateful once again, Honorable Minister, that with all your work that you were able to come to support this, because I know you're behind whatever the EDB does, and especially the ICT sector, which you consider extremely important. So thank you all the stakeholders for getting this together, And I wouldn't want to talk anything about the brand because there are a number of people who will be talking about the brand, how it evolved, and the importance of the brand. Thank you very much, and over to the MC.
Thank you very much, Ms. Indira Malwatta, for setting the tone for our event with your opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of us in this hall here are well aware, Sri Lanka's ICT BPM industry is all set to burst with high potential. It generates more than $1 billion in revenue and employs almost 100,000 people currently. And now, the government and stakeholders have set their sights on greater heights for the sector to generate 200,000 jobs and $5 billion in revenue by 2022. Therefore, I'm sure it comes as no surprise as to why the industry has felt a very pressing need to promote a positive image of Sri Lanka's capabilities to the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, to enlighten us further on this timely need of creating and conceptualizing an industry brand, it's now my pleasure to invite on stage the chairman of SLASCOM and managing director of STAX. Please put your hands together for Mr. Ruvindu Pires.
Good morning. What a time to be alive. Unbelievable. If there's only one wish I had, it would be to be 20 years younger. It's going to be a rocker. The next 20 years are just going to be amazing. I have no doubt about that. Mr. Malik, Indira Malwatta, thank you so much, Ms. Indira Malwatta, for joining us. Industry colleagues, it's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here with you today and to have the opportunity to really kind of talk a few words in terms of really describing the need for this. And in many ways, I'm preaching to the choir. I think we've all been through this. A lot of where we are is obviously on the hinds of some amazing work and outstanding delivery that all of you have really kind of done over the last few years. The next few minutes, really what I wanted to do was to kind of delve a bit into why the brand? Why do we need this, right? And as individuals, I think all of you can confess that it's a pretty good industry. All of us have done personally very well, right? We're doing good. Can we do better? Absolutely. Individually, I think all of us feel that there's a lot more that we could do. But as individual companies and individuals, it's a pretty nice place to be right now. And arguably, with or without a brand, I think each of our companies and individuals are going to do well in the future. But I think if you really take a step back and look at it, what's our responsibility, right? I personally feel extremely privileged and honored to have been born a Sri Lankan and to be part of this nation. And as I kind of look at what's got me to where I am right now, and you look at, the industries that have really propelled and held us up in the last few years have really been on the heights of the hard work of our mothers and aunties, our sisters, and they've really done that duty to us. Whether it be the tea industry, whether it be about the apparel industry, or some of the foreign exchange that we get from some of the ladies who are traveling outside to help. We've really kind of leveraged them to get to where we are right now. So to me, this is really a responsibility. This is something that we owe to ourselves, to our daughters, and to all the future generations that are coming to really kind of take ownership and really drive the country forward. And I think it couldn't be a better time for us to have actually developed the capability and what we have right now. If you look at where the world is right now, it's an unbelievable opportunity. Everything's getting disrupted. Everything's getting reimagined, right? In many ways, out of necessity, what our industry in Sri Lanka had to make the most out of, given the fact that we didn't have a lot of people and a lot of resources, our focus has always been in terms of value. How do you make the most of what you have? Taking the little that we had and ensuring that that really gave a bang for the buck. And today, if you look at the context of where the world is today, what's valued and what's demanded is absolutely what we have to offer. It's that level of focus, that level of collaborative partnership, of not being able to just take a request and be able to service it, but to actually be a thought partner and to be able to co-imagine new possibilities. That's really the ask. And in many ways, over the last 30 years of this industry developing, out of necessity, we've done exactly that. And it's heartening to see, whether it be in the headlines in just the last few days, right? So, I have a personal affiliation because I am who I am today because of my opportunity to be part of Retusa. And it was amazing to see a company that was started in Sri Lanka today being $1 billion global brand, all based on the ingenuity and the amazing talent that this country has provided. So many more, right? Whether it be IFS, we just had them celebrating 25 years in the country. The president of the country of IFS came in and said, we are who we are because of Sri Lanka. They have 3,000 employees globally. Out of that, 1,200 are hosted in Sri Lanka. Cisco, the world's largest food company, they have selected the country to be their engineering hub to ensure that they are relevant for the next 50 years. So this is not a story that we're just trying to start saying. It's a story that we've been doing. It's a very credible story. It's something that's inherent to who we are. So I think it's an amazing time for us to be bringing all of this together. And I think we have a very clear strategy of where we want to go forward. It's been amazing to work with the government, with all the industry partners, to be able to really kind of look and set our sights saying, hey, where is the future, where is the opportunity? And I think we see it in 3 areas. One is to ensure that we continue setting up the country to be global R&D innovation captive centers. We can do this, we've done it, and there's a lot more opportunity. We also see us as the digital gateway to Asia to be able to expose all the amazing opportunities that the region has to offer to other companies to be able to come in. But I think more importantly, and something that's really growing in the last while, and whether it be the WSO2s of the world that are taking head on the IBMs of the world and defining a new middleware platform of how the world's going to operate. 2, small companies which have 20 people serving 2 million plus companies in terms of their B2C products. We really need to be able to take our intellectual property and our products to the world and really kind of help the world transform. So I'm going to leave you with, it was very flattering, I guess, for A.T. Kearney when they came in and did a study of the country to come and say, Sri Lanka is the hidden gem of IT outsourcing. I think with the efforts that we put together today, what we want to make sure is that we are no more a hidden gem, but really the most sought out in the world. And we have everyone being able to take part of what we have to offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ruvinder Piris, for truly emphasizing how an overarching industry brand can create value for Sri Lanka's ICT BPM sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged this morning to be joined by our chief guest, Honorable Minister Malik Samaravikrama, who is our Minister of Development, Strategies and International Trade. It's now our privilege to listen to him address the gathering as he shares his point of view on this significant occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Honorable Minister Malik Samaravikrama.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Excellency, my friend, the Ambassador for Netherlands, Mr. Lokohetti, Secretary, Chairperson EDB, Mrs. Indira Malwatta, Chairman /Com Ruvinder Piris, Mr. Ruvinder Piris, Chairman FITIS, Mr. Kithiri Mansanayaka, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my views, and let me say that I'm extremely pleased to be here today. Some of you seem to be surprised that I'm here, but I still have my job. As we all know, Sri Lanka's IT industry has been one of the most remarkable success stories in our economy. And it is indeed an honor for me to address this important occasion where we come together to take the industry to even greater heights. Today's event, the launch of the official brand of Sri Lanka IT BPM sector, Island of Ingenuity, will go down in history as one of the most important milestones in this industry's journey. Sri Lanka's IT industry has emerged and become globally competitive due to the unique talents of our people. The focus on high quality and reliability, but above all, ingenuity and creativity. We need to tell the world about this, and today's brand launch will certainly help us to do that. On this occasion, it is important to recognize the process that brought us to this point. In 2014 and 15, the EDB, in consultation with the Advisory Committee on ICT BPM, identified that global branding of Sri Lanka's ICT BPM sector is vital, since Sri Lanka is less well known globally as an IT technology sourcing country. Through the resources of the Japan Fund and with the technical assistance of the Asian Development Bank and the PwC, the brand development work began. From the onset, the IT BPM industry provided immense support and contributed the expertise and time generously. So we thank you for that. Ultimately, the process had to have strong leadership, and this came from the EDB and the industry. I congratulate the EDB for taking this lead on this national effort and the vital collaboration of the private sector. We also truly appreciate the continued assistance from the Asian Development Bank, and I understand that the International Trade Center has also offered to support us in the next phase, and we thank ITC for that. This initiative is an important action point in the IT BPM sector strategy in the forthcoming National Export Strategy, being driven by our ministry and the Export Development Board. The sector has been identified as one of the 6 priority focus sectors with a focused plan of action that was co-created with the industry leaders. The IT initiative envisaged in the budget 2018 and being implemented by the EDB will have complementary programs to help second-tier IT firms break into new global markets through a well-designed and well-governed champion builder program. The IT initiative will also support regional IT entrepreneurship and skills availability for the sector. In total, we will be investing over 300 million rupees on this over the coming years. I believe that together with the brand being launched today, these initiatives will drive the IT BPM export sector to $5 billion in 5 years. Sri Lanka has embarked on a new chapter in its economic development journey, and with the ongoing reforms in the macroeconomy, fiscal policy, trade policy, FDIs, and overall business climate. Our ongoing reform efforts have resulted in exports of goods and services growing to $15.15 billion last year, an all-time high, and an all-time high FDI inflow of US dollars $1.63 billion. We will continue to focus on streamlining investment approvals and facilitation, improving exporter competitiveness, and forging vital bilateral free trade and economic cooperation agreements to become more open and accessible to the world. We have just signed a free trade agreement with Singapore about 2-3 weeks ago, covering goods, services, investment, e-commerce, government procurement, telecommunication, and financial services. And we are very proud to have done it with a country like Singapore that is regarded as one of the most open and liberalized economies. This is a step towards closer integration with ASEAN and the rest of Asia and making Sri Lanka an attractive digital and logistics hub for this region. Let me conclude by reiterating how important the IT industry is to this country and the importance the government places on it. There is no doubt that Sri Lanka needs a globally competitive IT industry as a linchpin in transforming our economy. We are living in an era of exciting digital disruption. In fact, Mr. Ravindra said that everything is being disrupted. Well, that includes our government, I guess. We are living in an era that promises to usher in great leaps of progress and prosperity, but also challenges to old ways and old business models. In this time of flux and of opportunity, Sri Lanka's IT BPM industry can position itself to offer the kind of new and sophisticated digital services that international businesses require. I congratulate the Sri Lankan IT BPM industry for coming to where you are today, not because of government, but almost in spite of it. But now, through initiatives like creating and promoting a national brand, as well as strategic initiatives like Champion Builder Program, our government can support the next growth impetus. Let's now all work together to truly leverage on this new brand and tell the world that in Sri Lanka, you will discover an IT industry built on innovation and improvisation and an island of ingenuity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister Malik Samaravikrama, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning and also for being a pillar of support to our industry. Friends, the moment we have all been waiting for has now arrived. It's now time for us to officially launch the brand of Sri Lanka's ICT BPM sector by unveiling the official logo. To do the honours of the same, may I invite the following dignitaries to please join us on stage. Our chief guest, the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, Honourable Minister Malik Samaravikrama, Chairperson and Chief Executive of Sri Lanka Export Development Board, Ms. Indira Malwatta, Director General of the Export Development Board, Ms. Jeevani Sirivardhana, a representative from the Asian Development Bank, Acting CEO of ICTA, Dr. Ajit Madura Peruma, Chairman of SLASCOM, Mr. Ravindra Piris, Chairman of FITIS, Dr. Kitsari Manchanayaka, President of SLEMIA, Mr. Chandana Disanayaka, Executive Director of PwC, Mr. Nishan Mendes, and our dignitaries will be accompanied on stage by Director Export Services of the Export Development Board, Mr. Saman Maldeni, and the Project Team Leader of PwC, Ms. Zahra Kadir. Please join us on stage. Well, we now have... Check. Maybe check. Yes, indeed. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen, our new brand identity, Island of Ingenuity, Sri Lanka Knowledge Solutions. And on that note, we'd like to thank our minister for doing the honors of unveiling our new industry brand, and also thank our dignitaries on stage, as we invite you to please wait for a few seconds for a few pictures. Thank you very much to our dignitaries for helping us launch our new industry brand. Ladies and gentlemen, this freshly launched brand that you just saw on the AV clip, Island of Ingenuity, will now be the face of our industry, both locally as well as globally. And I'm sure you agree with me, friends, after experiencing the audiovisual for yourself, that this unique identity truly captures the very distinctive capabilities of Sri Lanka's knowledge services sector. Friends, coming up next, we now have brand experts in the house who've helped us conceptualize this idea. And today they are here to take us through the brand identity, usage, and guidelines of Island of Ingenuity. It's my pleasure to invite on stage the brand expert and consultant to PwC, Mr. Ruchi Gunawardena, whose presentation will be shortly followed by Managing Director of Landor and consultant to PwC, Ms. Lulu Raghavan. First up, let's now welcome on stage Mr. Ruchi Gunawardena.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairman of the EDB, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. My task this morning is, now that you've seen the brand, is to explain to you the process that we went through, the thinking behind the brand, so that we all understand what the brand is about. And this is really very important for one main reason, because the brand is a living thing. It needs to be something that we all embrace wholeheartedly, individually, collectively, as an industry. And that's because the brand is not just an advertising slogan. It is actually a living, breathing thing that we all need to inculcate in our day-to-day work practices. So an understanding of what this brand is actually key to the whole success and the sustainability of the brand. And the way we went about it was, we first looked at the world, the world of technology out there, and we wanted to see it in the eyes of those audiences who we were going to take the brand out to. And in that context, we saw the world as a world that is connected. Everyone is connected with each other, between people, and even between things are now being connected. And what we are seeing is a whole acceleration of digitization, mobilization, there's augmentation, disintermediation, and automation, all of which is happening at a ever-increasing speed, which is transforming our daily lives and the way we do business. Okay. So it's really accelerating the whole sort of the way we do business. And it is a world which recognizes that knowledge is key, and where knowledge is the new currency in the world. And there's a lot of value behind that. So the question that we asked was, as a country, how do we respond to this? How do we align ourselves to this? And how do we make use of this opportunity? And clearly, there was one answer. We basically had to join the knowledge revolution. And then the next question was, how do we actually join this knowledge revolution? How do we take the knowledge that resides within the country out into the world? And how do we respond? And how do we make the world know about the knowledge that we have and what is unique about our people? And that's really the key to the whole thing. in terms of being able to define the brand in a way that is unique and which can only be attributed to Sri Lankan knowledge. So the whole point was really to define a brand that can actually capture the essence of this knowledge. And the importance of the brand really was all about providing a promise that was credible to Sri Lanka, a promise that was different and unique and not something that anyone else could emulate. And most importantly, it needed to be something relevant to the audiences that we were talking to. So it needed to engage with them in the right way. As a country, when we looked at it, we already are a sort of knowledge hub in many ways. When you look at our position in the region, we see, relatively high living standards. It's the highest in the region. We have a relatively good quality of life. Colombo is a nice, livable city. We have innovation and entrepreneurship spirit, which is part and parcel of the many IT companies that are currently operating in Sri Lanka. And there's also a business and cultural openness. And even our ancient civilization has used knowledge in some forms or another in order to build the heritage, upon which we are now basing ourselves. And this is the base upon which we have created many of the tech companies that are operating successfully in Sri Lanka. Ruvindu and Mrs. Malwatha spoke about those. And the sector also includes very well-known global brands which are operating successfully. And some of these global brands have even bought local companies in order to supplement their own capabilities. And we see many of these acquisitions that have happened over the years. Again, acknowledging the unique knowledge and the capabilities that these companies have built and successfully over the years. And all of this really has resulted in the Sri Lanka IT and BPO industry serving well-known global brands. And many of these are prestigious brands which are well-known across the world. So basically, when we looked at it, in terms of building the brand, we had a really strong foundation on which we can build a strong, compelling proposition, which customers will take note of. But we needed to be precise in terms of what is it that we were going to offer. Our intention really was simply to bring all the key stakeholders onto a common vision, which was to be articulated through the brand. And when we looked at it, we identified the many advantages that Sri Lanka had as a country in this rapidly changing, dynamic world. And there were two distinct features that we identified. The first was that Sri Lanka is small. Although small, we were punching way above our weight, but being small actually had many advantages that we were using in order to already serve global customers. For example, our IT businesses are very nimble and agile. We can provide quick turnaround to problems. We are geared to provide customized solutions to specific tasks. And there is always a lot of senior management involvement, which provides significant value to customers. And also, they are involved in being able to manage sensitive work and tasks. So really, the smallness provides that close intimacy with customers, which is a key feature. The other feature is our capacity for innovation, creativity, and problem solving. Because we are a small nation of 20 million people, in order to succeed, we have to do things differently. And if you look back at it, we are really quite good at it. We are good at solving complex problems, developing complex products, being a test bed for many of the global companies in order for those global companies to develop products, and there are many examples of that currently in the IT industry, and also being a center for continuous improvement. So what we did was we put these two elements together to define the core of our brand offering. Our brand is therefore all about the ability to solve complex problems with the agility to take on customized solutions for global customers. And we captured this through a single word, which was ingenuity. And the word ingenuity, we believe, captures the spirit of what we have and what we can uniquely offer to global customers. The word island also perfectly complements and supports our core strengths. For example, island connotes being compact and small. Also, the term island of ingenuity connotes that ingenuity is contained within this small area of an island. Also, it connotes a context of being a pleasant work environment and the warm hospitality of our people. So all of those elements are part and parcel of the brand that we want to market. And the word knowledge solutions is also very key. We brought that as being our core product offering. We wanted to widen the product offering beyond IT and BPO to encompass all of knowledge solutions. And this is because we wanted to capture industries such as architectural solutions, it could be legal solutions, scientific solutions, and a wide sector of people who are using knowledge, which is what we want to take out to global markets. So that is really the reason why we are talking about knowledge solutions as opposed to a more narrower IT BPM service solution. And this is key in order to encompass all the other industries that are all already set up doing these knowledge work, and in order to get them to tap into the whole promise of the brand. So if you just look at the definition of ingenuity, this lends to our strengths, because the meaning of ingenuity is all about being clever, original, and inventive. And you will realize that actually this is very much a part of our core DNA. And there are many examples of ingenuity around us. If you look at ancient civilizations, the building of Sigiriya and the aqua systems around that, or the agricultural systems that were built during the ancient kings, etc., there is ingenuity inculcated from thousands of years ago. And even in the modern context, the world, the products that we take to the world are also premium, high-value products, where again there are specialized services and technology that goes into providing these to global markets. And even in the area of sports where we have succeeded, you will see that in the occasions we have succeeded, we have actually used ingenuity, whether it be the 1996 World Cup, where we changed the way you make runs, or whether you talk about Murali's Dusra or Dilshan's Dil Scoop. They're all interesting ideas of ingenuity in order to succeed and win in the global stage, as well as the many cutting-edge products that serve the financial sectors. These are all complex products that all come out of Sri Lanka, again using our spirit of ingenuity. So our brand is not just a slogan. The whole point of the brand is to understand the essence of it, because what we need to be doing in our individual companies on a daily basis, on a long-term basis, is to actually live the brands, the meaning of the brand through actions. Because it is this living of the brand that actually provides credibility. And what I mean by that is, if you are to live the spirit of the island of ingenuity, what that must mean to us in terms of individual companies is we need to recognize and nurture the talent in the industry through education, bringing in new people, highly educated people into the industry, nurturing them when they get into the industry through proper HR systems and upgrading their skills on the one hand. And on the other hand, we should be looking at increasing our research and development initiatives on the other. So these two are absolutely key in order to be able to provide a credible solution and credibility to what the brand actually stands for, so that we deliver it on a consistent basis and makes the brand a sustainable living thing and not just an advertising slogan that is relegated to a fancy website. So it is really doing all of this which will enable us to achieve our objectives. The objectives are twofold. On the one hand, engage with global audiences in order to provide a credible message of this is Sri Lanka's capability. And on the other, a more internal initiative, which is to energize all industry stakeholders involved in knowledge solutions to take this to greater heights through the initiatives that I just outlined in terms of actually living the brand on a day-to-day basis. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the essence of our brand in terms of how we have defined the brand, the thinking behind it, and a plea to the industry to really make this part and parcel of your DNA. Whichever organization you may work for, I'm sure there are elements of this, but maybe now is the time to actually sharpen that and really commit yourselves individually and collectively in order to take the brand into global markets and make it successful. So I would now like to call on Lulu Raghavan, the Managing Director of Landor, to show us what the brand actually looks like and the thinking that went into the creation of the brand identity system.
Great. So with the brand so beautifully articulated and agreed upon, it was time to turn to the branding. Think of brand as meaning and branding as the signal system. As Ruchi pointed out, the core idea of this brand is the notion of us being perceived as an island of ingenuity. This proposition really positions Sri Lanka as a destination that's small and niche, but also personal and warm. And in the branding, we really want to highlight the most important resource, which is the people of Sri Lanka, who are really good at getting very proactively immersed in the client's business and providing very innovative and insightful solutions to very complex challenges that the world has, that every industry has today. When we're creating a brand, the personality of the brand is really critical. So what did we have in mind? Being in sync with Island of Ingenuity, it was to project a small industry, but one that really dares to think big. So in the branding, how can we create this very bold, fearless, and spirited feel? How do we communicate that we are a group of companies that are very creative and flexible, and in our interaction with our clients, we're truly warm, friendly, and hospitable. So for us, the whole exercise, the purpose to create this unified brand was to have a very singular and unified focus for marketing activities, which would create the synergy, to communicate that Sri Lanka has the expertise that's truly second to none, to attract global businesses who will consider partnering with Sri Lankan companies, to truly create differentiation, distinction from other countries, providing similar products and services, and to really create pride among the industry and to also attract prospective talent. So really to create an identity for the Sri Lankan IT BPO industry and all of its businesses collectively under one common brand. We always like to think in terms of the shift in perceptions that the brand is going to enable. So today, companies around the world are unaware of the talent base that Sri Lanka has in the areas of artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, knowledge solutions, all of it. They perhaps think of Sri Lanka as a tourism destination, but perhaps not one for doing high-tech business with. And perhaps there are also some fear of poor quality. But with the brand meaning of Island of Ingenuity and the branding signals, what we want to do is to shift perceptions, to really help them understand and believe in Sri Lanka's strengths and advantages that all of the companies collectively provide, to give them assurance of the innovative and high-quality products and services, and to truly trust the industry can deliver what is promised with agility and reliability. When we think of creating a brand, we also need to think about who the brand is for. Let's not forget that this shouldn't be an internal navel-grazing exercise. This is really taking our message out to the world. And the primary target audience are the C-suite in the global companies around the world. Everyone knows that the power is shifting from the CIOs to the CMOs, the CEOs, the CFOs. These are the folks who are really making those big-ticket decisions, right? Who do they want? They're looking for companies, they're looking for partners who are aware of the evolving business landscape, companies who are updated and can help the clients stay up to date with their requirements, and can truly understand as well as anticipate customer needs using data and technology. So that was the primary target audience we had in mind. Of course, the other target audiences is all of you, the Sri Lankan companies and entrepreneurs providing the knowledge solutions, local policy makers here, and of course the workforce and talent. And the need of the hour is really to bring the strategy to life with an idea that really reflects the ingenuity from Sri Lanka. So some of you may have been looking at the backdrop this morning and wondering what that was, the ones and the zeros. Any guesses as to what it is? So it's actually something quite obvious, but we thought quite clever. Inspired from the most simple form of code, the brand very ingeniously connects binary to the acronym Island of Ingenuity. So when you look at the pattern now, do you see the IOI? Right? So we thought there was a really nice, fresh, and contemporary way to create the identity. I'm just going to show you a quick video. You'll notice the colors. Hopefully everyone feels pride in the colors. There's no coincidence there, making it very distinctively Sri Lankan. So the Q from the IT industry, which can be used in a very dynamic way, the colors of the nation, a very bold and contemporary typography to match the boldness of our spirit, the fearlessness with which we take on the world, and a very unique and powerful visual language that you'll see starting to be applied across the applications of the brand. Start to think of how we might advertise, how we might do our conferences, trade shows. How do we start to signal these high-tech capabilities that we have beyond BPO, analytics, API management, artificial intelligence? How do we communicate our trade booths to have this very modern, contemporary, and futuristic feeling? The website, which will be live, you can explore it. Really communicating to all the primary audiences, the first moment of truth. They may go see you at a trade show or hear that there's good work being done in this country, but the first touch point will be the website, where they learn more information about the industry collectively and the companies as a whole as well. You'll see the colors, the typography, the pattern, the binary code used in a very consistent but creative way across all of the applications of the brand. A very clear articulation of the value proposition that's put up on the website as well. So in summary, I hope you've understood the intent and meaning behind the Island of Ingenuity, which is the brand, the meaning that we want to create, and the branding, which is the signals, the color palette, the typography, the binary pattern, all of which collectively will position the country's industry and all of the companies as undoubtedly the partner to do business with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lulu Raghavan, as well as to Mr. Ruchi Gunawardana for so expertly articulating the thinking behind as well as the application of the Island of Ingenuity identity. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last few years, several stakeholders have been involved in promoting the need for an effective, instantly recognizable brand. The Asian Development Bank has assisted Sri Lanka's Export Development Board in designing a branding strategy for the sector, and this campaign has utilized technical assistance funded through the Japan Fund for Poverty Reduction with consultancy provided by PwC. Coming up next, friends, joining us live via Skype, we have financial sector specialist from the Asian Development Bank, Mr. Takuyo Hashino. And he's here online with us to share with us a few thoughts on this landmark launch. So let's take a look as we connect internationally.
Can you hear me? Can I start? Good morning, everyone. This is Takuya Hoshino, a financial sector specialist of Asian Development Bank. Please allow me to participate from the ADB's headquarters in Manila, in Philippines, due to my travel schedule. Although I'm now in Philippines, I'm enjoying watching this event through internet live stream. And also I'm very glad to be connected through Skype. And I'm just embracing the benefit of ICT development now. So, Honorable Malik Samara Vikrama, Minister of International Trade, Ms. Indira Marwata, Chairperson of Export Development Board, SLASCOM Chairman, FITIS Chairman, senior executives, officials, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Asian Development Bank, I'd like to express big congratulations on the successful launch of the overarching national brand for ICT BPM sector in Sri Lanka. I'd also like to express my sincere appreciations to Export Development Board for proactively supporting this initiative, and Government of Japan for financially supporting several ADB's technical assistance projects for Sri Lanka, including this innovative initiative. ADB has been recently engaged with financial sector and the private sector development in Sri Lanka in line with government's priority of promoting inclusive growth and facilitating Sri Lanka's transformation to a knowledge-based, highly competitive social market economy so that the country becomes an export-oriented economic hub of the region, as envisioned in Vision 2025. For example, ADB is now providing a $175 million credit line to small and medium-sized enterprises. However, enhancing access to finance for SMEs requires bankable business ideas to be increased. Against this backdrop, ADB has also provided a large-scale technical assistance for Export Development Board to enhance the productivity of export-oriented SMEs, which includes a broad-based support for ICT BPM sector. At initial stage of ADB's technical assistance, a gap assessment of the ICT BPM sector was carried out to understand the competitive landscape of the sector. It was found that Sri Lanka has an opportunity to attract international clients, especially who are looking for a secondary location to complement their ICT BPM operations in India. Also, Sri Lanka was found to have unique strengths such as well-educated English-spoken managers and employees, culture of hospitality, and easygoing lifestyle openness, all of which can contribute to creative solutions and problem-solving capabilities across services. Then, for Sri Lanka to seize this opportunity by leveraging its strengths, it was considered essential to establish an overarching national plan for ICT BPM sector. Given the country size, Sri Lankan firms are better to collaborate for spending extra efforts to be visible in the global market. In this sense, it was observed that all the private and public stakeholders in Sri Lankan ICT BPM sector were well coordinated and collaborated to establish the brand. It is indeed a great achievement. So after successful launch, the brand Island of Ingenuity, what will be an next step? I just want to emphasize the importance of the sustainability of the brand. So how to sustain this initiative and make the Sri Lankan ICT BPM sector more recognized and reputed in the global market? A good precedence may be in the Sri Lankan tea sector. So for foreign buyers of tea, when we see the brand of sale of tea, we are very assured of its quality. Why does this positive effect of a brand happen? Because the Sri Lankan tea sector has had quality control in place to provide better than expected experience to consumers. So I'd like to remind that the existence of the brand itself is important, but continuous efforts to ensure the credibility of the brand is more critical for the ICT BPM sector to enjoy the real benefit of the brand. Then, how can the Sri Lanka to effectively serve as an island of ingenuity for international ICT BPM clients? There are many approaches to do this, but I'd like to highlight the importance of diversity in work environment to enhance creativity and innovation. For example, female participants in ICT BPM sector is still around 30%. So 60% of ICT BPM graduates are women. ADB is supporting the government to address this gender disparity issue by introducing a new career counseling framework for female students. However, I'd like to draw a strong attention on this matter and encourage the Sri Lankan ICT BPM sector to proactively take measures to overcome this issue, to make a more diversified working environment and sustain the ingenuity of the Sri Lankan ICT BPM sector. To close this remark, I'd like to extend my big congratulations again on the launch of this Island of Ingenuity plan. And I'm really glad to be part of its successful initiative. Thanks again to all for attending this conference. Thank you very much.
Well, that was a benefit of ICT in action. Thank you once again to Mr. Takuyo Hashino for joining us live via Skype to speak to us on behalf of our key stakeholder, the Asian Development Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, the island of ingenuity identity for all of Sri Lanka's IT BPM sector draws on international benchmarks and global market trends. And this is to ensure that customers worldwide have a very positive image of Sri Lankan companies even before they come in contact with the organizations themselves. It's time for us now to find out what the implementation plan is for the rollout of this new brand over the next few years. To shed more light on the next steps of action, please help me in inviting on stage Director Export Services for the Sri Lanka Export Development Board. Put your hands together for Mr. Saman Maldeni.
Good morning. Your Excellency, the Ambassador for Netherlands, Chairperson of EDB, Mrs. Indira Malwatha, Director General of EDB, Mrs. Jeevani Sriwardana, Chairperson's Acting CEO of ICT Agency, Dr. Madhura Peruma, Chairs of SLASCOM as well as the ICT Agency, the FITIS. Friends, my task is to tell you what is the activities planned. So it's obviously these activities are planned, but it has to be implemented with the support of the people who are in this room. So I think it's very relevant for you to see through it and then to give your support and give your wholehearted support for this implementation. So having said that, I'll go for my other slides. So this is the target. As we have heard from the morning, we are trying to achieve $5 billion of exports and 200,000 direct jobs with 1,000 startups running. So having this target in mind, we look at what are the activities we have planned with this brand. So plan of actions undertaken by EDB with the implementation partners. So basically, these are the main partners: the Government of Sri Lanka, obviously, the Board of Investments, International Trade Center, and the Asian Development Bank. We have just heard from the Asian Development Bank, and the SLASCOM FITIS and the ICT Agency. So plan of actions. So first thing is that this brand is going to have a web portal, and this web portal will be maintained. Also, with the support of International Trade Center, they have already produced some of the case studies. Some of you in this room know that they have visited your companies and had some videos done to prove, as Ruchi said in the morning, to prove that this is island of ingenuity. So what is the kind of ingenuity, the things that we have done with the ingenuity. And then have a global digital marketing strategy and rollout for this brand. And also, with all the digitalization, still the print media is not out of the context. So we also have to look at the print media, the brochures, the banners, those things. Also the Then the global PR design and management, article placement in trade media, also the hiring analyst for analyst publications. Then importantly, we have to look at the diaspora as well, global diaspora as ambassadors for the brand. Then again that we have to invite some of the journalists from outside to look at Sri Lanka and look at Sri Lankan companies. So we have to do that. Then obviously that we have to use the global trade events to promote this brand. Then we need to make aware these trade promotion organizations and the SMEs to promote the brand, the providing guidelines and operational manuals and other things, the supporting materials to how to use the brand correctly without violating brand rules, to keep the brand integrity. So that awareness we'll have to maintain. For that, we are not only Colombo centric, we are also trying to take this to outside Colombo. So as you know, now there are a couple of cities coming up with ICT sourcing capabilities. Last couple of years we have been in Jaffna, we have been in Kandy and Kurunagala. So that kind of regional awareness also will be developed with this brand. Then, so this is the key thing that at the moment we have identified certain markets. As you know, it's not strange for the people in this room. These markets, to promote this brand in these markets like Japan, Australia, New Zealand, European Union, especially UK and Scandinavian countries, US and Canada, India, and also Middle East. So so we will have to have, we're trying to have consultants or the kind of consulting firms in these countries, organize local analyst briefings, then the article placement in those media in those countries, and also the regional and local trade shows and missions. Then to have linkages and networking with the diaspora in those countries. Also, we want to invite chief information officers and that kind of C-level people to the country for inbound tours to promote the brand and promote the Sri Lankan ICT BPM sourcing capabilities, and also the organizing matchmaking for interested local companies in the target markets with this brand. We have been doing some of these things, but we want to enhance it and we want to get the maximum out of it with these programs which we have planned with this brand. So okay, this is my last slide. As I said in the inception, that we can't do any of these things without your support here. So private sector support is essential, as mentioned by our chairperson in the morning, that this is a private-public partnership project or program, so that without your investments, without your support, without your courage, without your passion, we can't go forward. Ultimately, the beneficiaries are the sector, the private sector, and the companies, and along that the people of the country, so that we need the private sector support and participation in these implementation programs. It's as simple as that. If there's no participation, there's no implementation. And the proactive networking and communication. So we need you to be proactive, not to be reactive, but to be proactive, and communicate very closely with EDB and the other associations that you are part of. So don't be compartmentalized. So be open, and as Ruchi said, so live the brand. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saman Maldeni, for sharing with all of us what's in store for the brand in terms of a very dynamic action plan that we can all look forward to. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we almost come to the close of this momentous launch, we have to remember that the success of today's function would not have been possible without several individuals as well as organizations who've come together to make this a reality. And therefore, we'd now like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to them in the form of a vote of thanks. To do the honors of the same, it's now my pleasure to invite on stage a representative from the branding committee. He is the chairman of FITIS and the chairman of Ames College. Please put your hands together for Dr. Kitsari Manchanayaka.
Good morning, Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Netherlands, Mrs. Indra Malwatta, Chairperson EDB, Chairman /Com Ruindu, and Mrs. Saman Maldeni, Export Director of EDB, and ICT Acting CEO, Director General of EDB, and all the government officials, friends, invitees, colleagues in the industry. I've been asked to do the most difficult task for thanking all the people who behind the show. I'll try my best to thank them all, but if I miss out one name or agency, forgive me. First of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Minister Malik Samaravikrama, who was here as a chief guest. He participated in this event despite of his busy schedule, and Her Excellency, the Netherlands, Ambassador of the Netherlands, for your participation over here, and all other invitees, guests, government officials, and everybody who are here in this occasion today. I would like to thank them all. And there are a few agencies behind this whole branding scenario. I would like to thank them. First of all, EDB as implementing agency of this entire thing. I would like to thank again EDB and the funding agencies like ADB and Japan Funding, and all other stakeholders, ICTA, BOI, /Com, FITIS, SLEMEA, and our project consultant, PwC, and last but not the least, Lendo, who is our branding agency. I would like to thank everybody who has contributed for the entire thing for the last few months, few years probably, so to make this entire event a success, and we got a good brand out of it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kitsari Manchanayaka, for your warm gratitude so sincerely expressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we trust that we've been able to provide you with comprehensive details on Sri Lanka's new ICT BPM industry brand, the Island of Ingenuity. Come join us as we invite you, our key stakeholders of the industry, to truly own and live the brand as we together take Sri Lanka to the world stage. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we now draw this morning's launch to a close, and we welcome you to please stay on and join us for refreshments. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning, and we wish you a pleasant week ahead. For now, have a nice day. Thank you.